Greetings, friends. It's Pat at Dancing Moon Travel here with an episode of Let's Talk Travel. If you follow us regularly, you know that we typically have a guest from some aspect of the travel industry on board with us to talk about their products or destinations. We've departed from that for the month of June and have been actually hosting some of our independent contractors, people who are uh, working agents with Dancing Moon Travel, talking about their own personal travel experiences recently. And, there's nothing like sharing what we've done to inspire others to get out there and enjoy the joys of travel. What are you waiting for? It's time, folks. Just get out there and start doing it. So we hope you'll follow in our footsteps. And this evening, we are hosting our agent from Houston, Texas. We have Natalie McCaskill on board. Welcome, Natalie. We are so happy. We're so delighted to have you on board here. And Natalie is going to be sharing with us this evening her recent travel experience. She was out on the Carnival Panorama. And Natalie, let's just start. I always like to start with just letting you introduce yourself, give us a little bit about your background and how you came to be with us here in the travel industry.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so delighted to be part of Pat's Let's Talk Travel. My parents actually met and married in France and came to America on a ship in the 1950s, and I was born in the United States, but I've always been thrilled with travel. I think probably because in my upbringing, my parents went home to France whenever they could, and then from there we went to other places, so I've always loved it. And even when I raised our three children, I always measured expenses in terms of an airline ticket. It's like, you don't need that new phone, that's an airline ticket. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get in travel actually when I was younger, but it was just about the time that the internet was taking off and everybody was getting their own tickets online. So it didn't seem like a good decision. I spent most of my career in the title industry working for Stewart Title. But when I got this opportunity with Pat, when I was retired to take on a part-time retirement job, I thought this would be the perfect fit because my husband, John, and I love to travel. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to not only help my family and friends, but hopefully to help you all choreograph your travel dreams.
Great job with that, Natalie. And I know that you have been so many places. So you bring not only a wealth of knowledge head knowledge. You have been to so many of these places. So you bring personal experience to the table to help your clients with their travel and your attention to detail and everything that you did in the title industry. I mean, your background also is just well suited to making you successful in the travel industry. And we are so happy to have Natalie as part of our team here at Dancing Moon Travel. What do you say to people about travel? Do you have any words inspiration that you'd like to give people to get out and go?
Yes, I do. Some people don't know, but I lost my late husband about 10 years ago in widowhood. And I started writing a blog because I created a community of widows in the Houston area. And now I'm actually the Texas community leader for the state of Texas for Modern Widows Club. And we kind of learn how to lean into life after loss. And so I started writing a blog, and the name of that blog was Enjoy Every Second. But that's something that I've always believed, Pat. I really think that we're born and given this gift of a life, and we need to be sure and do everything we can to absolutely enjoy it. My late husband and I, and also John, my current husband, both love to travel. So whenever we had a few dollars rubbed together, we were gone on trips all over the world. We might not have the finest furniture or the newest phones, but we chose to spend our dollars in the travel bucket. So I always encourage people to go, and I do try to work a lot with solo travelers, as you know, trying to encourage others. And in fact, I even took an extravagant trip to Fiji, honestly, just to prove to myself and other widows in the community, you can travel alone safely and have a wonderful time.
Yeah, and that's just kind of a sidebar. I agree with you. You know, it was 2019 when I usually travel with my husband, and so 2019 I had a trip that it was agents only. So I went, and it was a little scary, but I found out it need not be scary. It's very doable. It's very, once you do it, you folks, just go for it. Don't put it off. Don't try saying I can instead of I can't. Just
Oh, wow,
say,
you feel healthy and enjoy life. Absolutely.
that's right. I think I can will get you a long way instead of starting to find reasons why you can't do something. I'm a big believer in that as well, Nancy. So all of that aside, we got off on a little rabbit track, but we do that. This we're here to talk about recent travel, and this evening we're particularly talking about your recent cruise aboard Carnival. And I know you have cruised previously. What cruise lines have you been on before, and had you done any previously with Carnival?
So actually, I never wanted to go on a cruise for the first 60 years of my life. And my husband, John, invited me on a family cruise going to Italy, Spain, and Greece. So obviously, that was the carrot. And so I wanted to go to all three of those places because I'd never been. So my first cruise was on Princess, and it was extraordinary, a wonderful experience. It was so fun to meet all the family. When I started travel, interestingly enough, in the first couple of months, I'm so excited. I booked 8 Carnival cruises. And so that's a very different product and a different brand altogether. So I felt like, as Pat was alluding to earlier, in order to be better for my customers, I needed to understand the experience. So I twisted John's arm and off we went on a Carnival cruise. And I partnered that with a trip to visit my brother. So instead of pulling out of Galveston, where you would think, since I live in Houston, we actually flew to Long Beach, which is a beautiful airport. I would highly recommend it. Small and so easy to get around. It's a great also port. I mean, that is where Carnival is one of the ports that Carnival departs from. So we did a Mexican cruise that was just fantastic, late February, and we really enjoyed it. And I have to say, I was thrilled with Carnival. There were some things that were very different from Princess, but we had a wonderful experience. And so we'll talk about that in more detail as you guide the questions.
Right. Well, and Natalie, I think that Carnival has. Yeah, first of all, Princess is owned by Carnival, folks. It's
Oh,
one
I
of
didn't know that.
yeah, it's one of the brands that Carnival Corporation owns. They are the largest cruise company in the world, and Princess is one of their brands. Holland America, and a number of other brands. So when you sail on Princess, you are aboard one of the Carnival family of brands. So, but yes, they're very, very different products. And the Panorama,
Yep.
it's one of Carnival's newest vessels. What was your overall impression of the ship, Natalie? Did it live up to your expectations?
Absolutely, Pat. It was very beautiful. As you mentioned, it's one of the newer ships. It had a lot of wonderful amenities. And the longer we stayed there, the more John and I discovered different little things that we really enjoyed finding. A lot of places that you could just be quiet and read. Of course, a lot of activity for adults and children, all kinds of entertainment. And I was, oh, good timing. And I was very impressed also with just the overall layout. We were in a balcony suite, which I do recommend. I don't think I would want to do anything less than a balcony or a junior suite. We were midship and we were on the ninth floor. That was a perfect location. Not hard to get to any of the food or the specialty dining, and close to the spa, close to the swimming pools. I mean, everything you might need. And even if you just want to walk around on the decks and look at everything going by as you sail away into the sunset, it was a great location. And I was very impressed with the design of the layout of the rooms. After being on Princess, I was concerned that the rooms might be small, and especially the bathrooms. But honestly, the way that the architecture is on the ship, I was very impressed. The bathroom was kind of at a catty corner, and one of my clients had asked me specifically, she's like, let me know if you can both brush your teeth at the same time. And you can, and there's room to spare. It's really, really nice. And so, in addition to the bed, there was also like a little sofa. You could sit and watch TV or read. And then, of course, we had a wonderful balcony where you could watch, the sea go by. And we sat out there literally for hours in the afternoon, just reading books and visiting. And it was lovely, a great experience.
I love those balcony staterooms. And, I think that Carnival takes people have a set my, they have a mindset about Carnival, and yeah, they are known as the fun ships, and their short cruises in particular on some of their older ships, doing those 3 and 4 night itineraries. You have a very different experience than you do when you're sailing one of the new ships and a longer itinerary. Totally different demographic on board those ships, and just a totally different experience. I love these movies, the dive-in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, just great to hang out there in the evening and enjoy just as the sun goes down. Uh, but I wanted to talk a little bit about your itinerary. You've already mentioned that you sailed out of Long Beach, so you did
Yes.
something. This is an itinerary I have never done before, and so I'm very interested.
Beautiful.
How would you compare that experience to the sailings that come out of Florida with the Gulf Coast ports and the Caribbean destinations? Uh, do you think this was a great itinerary? Would you
I
recommend it?
do. I highly recommend the itinerary. I have been to the Caribbean, but I only flew directly to the islands. So I had been to the Bahamas, I've been to Grand Cayman, but I've never taken a cruise through there. And again, that was literally decades ago. We wanted to go to Mexico because I hadn't been in almost 40 years and I wanted to see what it was like. So it was the perfect itinerary for me because I had heard so much. So we went to Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, and of course Cabo. And Cabo is famous for the arches, but all three of them were absolutely beautiful. The people are charming. The excursions, we did excursions to each one. And it was just a beautiful experience to be able to go out and see things. I was very impressed at how excursions were handled. With COVID, all of them had at least two different guides with us. It was very well organized. They stayed with you. They counted you constantly. We went through these streets that you're showing here. We even did a hike up to the top of the lighthouse, El Faro, that's in Mazatlan, and we took a boat out to see the arches in Cabo. So it was a really unique experience. And then you also had enough downtime to just really enjoy the environment, grab a bite to eat locally, have a margarita if you were so inclined, and really get to spend some time enjoying the local culture and colors. It was a wonderful experience.
Now, those first two images that I showed, those were, let's go back to those. These are the Puerto
That's
Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta, the first stop. Yes, ma'am.
Eh, I mean, those
There we took a
charming.
cooking class up in the mountains, and the food was delicious. We learned how to make salsa and guacamole from scratch, and we had some chicken flautas. It was delicious. A really lovely day there.
Lovely, lovely. And Mazatlan here.
Yes, that's where we did the hike to the lighthouse. I highly, highly recommend it. It takes some time, but they were very patient with everyone. And the tour guide there was extraordinary. We also got to see the cathedral and walk around downtown and really enjoy the marketplace and all the things that Mazatlan has to offer.
Now, I'm guessing those twin spires there are probably the cathedral.
Yes, that's the cathedral. Yes, yes, a lot of history.
And then, of course, guess where this was?
So Cabo San Lucas, we've all heard about it, but yes, the arches. So that was the promoter for this cruise. For John and I were both photographers, and we wanted to capture these pictures of the arches. They're just famous. It's actually very difficult to get the quality of picture that Pat has here because there's so many people going in boats and flying all around. But we got some wonderful pictures. So if you like to take photography or just be outdoors, I mean, it's a perfect combination. We honestly had enough time there to stay for a lovely lunch right on the water, just in the port. And again, everybody was so helpful and kind. It was a great experience.
Natalie, you're making me absolutely want to do this itinerary. I love these pictures. Just they're very. I feel like this is something that I need to have on my bucket list. And it's so easy for us to sail. We're here in Florida, so we have 5 ports within driving distance
I
here. So best thing about living here.
Well, we were visiting my brother in LA, but I will say, I told my husband I'd love to go back to Long Beach. That looks like a lovely area, and maybe add a day or two, before or after your cruise, so that you can enjoy the local culture. And it's only about 40 minutes away from Los Angeles. So it's a really nice airport to fly in and out of. They're very carnival focused. The If you rent a car, it's literally in the parking lot of the airport where you get your luggage, and so does the Carnival bus. It takes you straight to the port. It was a seamless transfer that we did, and we really enjoyed it.
I love that. And sometimes of the year you can take a northbound itinerary and do from the California ports. You can do the San Francisco. Some of
Yeah,
them go even farther north, and some of them have featured. Depends on the cruise line and the itinerary, but so California departures, those cruises are definitely something to have on your bucket list, folks. Something different. If you've been there and done that with all the Caribbean, don't forget about those West Coast options with different ports of call, and even on the East Coast as well. We could talk about that another time. But you've already talked about your accommodations, that they were sounds like exceeded your
very comfortable,
expectations.
very comfortable. We really enjoyed the space.
Plenty of storage space for everything you took, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. Lots of drawers and a closet. Our steward was fantastic. His name was Blessing, and he honestly was a total blessing. We really enjoyed him, and we had the different towel animals and a lot of creativity. And even sometimes when John and I would be going different places at different times, and we'd come out, he's like, he went that way or she went that way.
I love it. It seems like they're always there. I know they have certain work hours, but it seems like wherever you look, there they are. They're just always there and always wanting to help. And how about the entertainment on board, Natalie? How did you catch any of the shows or other venues?
We did a little bit. For both of us, we really booked this as a respite. We both have really busy lives, caregivers for other people full time, pretty much. And so we really just wanted to get away, just the two of us, and enjoy each other's company. One of my friends that's a big carnival enthusiast recommended getting a spa pass. And I would tell you, if you can afford to go on a cruise, you should check the spa pass. You pay a fixed fee and you have access to the spa the whole week. We did a 7-night cruise. And you have to pay additionally if you go for a massage or special service. But the whole time you always have access to the gym, and that's for anyone. But with the spa pass, they have these incredible lounge chairs, Pat, that are built out of ceramic tile, but they're heated. It's like sitting on a tile lounger that's warm and cozy. You're overlooking the glistening sea, the sun sparkling like diamonds. There's a huge hot tub. I mean, the size of my kitchen just about, and all these different sauna rooms with different, and all of that is covered under your spa pass, and you can go at any time, any day, however many days you want to go. So that was something I would definitely consider. John and I actually also took some nutrition classes there that were very interesting, just to find out more. And then there was a very nice gym, and then we really enjoyed the musician that was at the piano bar. So a couple of nights after dinner or before dinner, depending on the schedule, we would go and listen. And then we found a really nice area called the Veranda. And there also was, we didn't find it till almost the end of the trip, Pat. And on the upper deck, there was this area that we thought maybe was just for rooms on that floor, but it is actually open for adults. Wonderful lounge chair and a bar and overlooking the sea. We went up there and stayed one evening at sunset, just beautiful. So
the Serenity area.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a great adults hangout. Sometimes of the year. Now, when you sailed, I don't think you probably had a lot of families on board your dates.
No, it was late February, which was nice.
But sometimes there are a lot of, and the adult Serenity area can be a great place if you just want to chill out in a quiet location for a while. And I don't think there's any charge for that either. Not on Carnival. They don't. Some of the cruise lines do have a charge for their adults only hangout area, but Carnival it's free. It's there for you to use, and a great place for you to do. If you've got a lot of kids on board, or maybe some of them are your own kids, and you still you want a little peace and quiet. They're at one of the children's programs. You can go up there and just chill. It's great. It's great. So, you know me, Natalie, I'm always interested in hearing about the food. I've got to ask this. Did you eat primarily in the dining room, or did you hit the buffet? What was
we did the buffet quite a bit, usually for breakfast. And sometimes, depending on the day and the itinerary, we would just go and get a little bite to eat and even bring it back to the room while we were getting ready for the excursions. We ate in the dining room some. We had booked a couple of specialty restaurants in advance. You can pre-book your dining and you can choose your own time, which is really nice too. And I've actually worked with a lot of clients that are traveling together, and you can link those reservations so that you're all eating at the same restaurant at the same time, and it's really seamless. So we booked some in advance, and we went to Gigi, which is like Joy Joy. It's their Asian cuisine, absolutely delicious. We went there one of the first 2 nights, I think. Really enjoyed it so much that this was the other thing. Later in the week, we just decided we wanted to go back, and we were able to get a reservation. We just went and asked, and we were able to have a seating. We also went to the steakhouse, which I highly recommend. The food was delicious, very, very nice. And then one night we treated ourselves to the chef's table. Now that's a little
Um,
bit more expensive. I think it's $95, but it includes all of your courses, and there are seemed like hundreds, but it was probably, I mean, I don't know, 7 or 8 courses paired with different wines and champagne. And it actually takes place in a special kitchen with a celebrity chef that's on board to explain everything. It's really very, very fun. It's a little bit dressier occasion, although I wouldn't say that was forcefully enforced. I mean, there were a lot of people that were more casual, but we used it as a night to just dress up and have date night and go out. And it was very nice. We met some wonderful people. We really enjoyed the food, and it was very unique and different. So I definitely would put at least, kind of mix and match. Other nights, when we had all day excursions, we just wanted to go get a bite to eat. The dining room was fine. And we went and did that. And, you have the same people waiting on you, and it was just lovely.
Carnivals, some people think, and folks, I just want to clarify any misconceptions that somehow the food on Carnival is somehow a step below some. I have found the food on the regular dining room in Carnival to be more than acceptable. Every time I have cruised, it has exceeded my expectations. The service has been exemplary. They really go out of their way. And so, folks, if you think that you are going to find the food on a Carnival cruise ship to be somehow, they're not throwing bologna sandwiches at you, folks. They're
Well,
lovely
in
meals.
addition to that, there's like the Guy Ferrari burger bar. There's the special pizza place. There was an incredible taco bar that's included in your package. You can
Yes.
go any time of day, all kinds of tacos and some special bars that have
Yeah.
different margaritas. The iguana bar, I believe, was one. Anyway,
Mhm.
there's so many things available.
Yeah.
It's
No
unbelievable.
shortage of places to eat without extra charges. But if you feel like a splurge, those specialty restaurants definitely are worth. And the chef's table, I've done that several times on different cruise lines, and it is a memorable experience. So I highly recommend that if you're celebrating an anniversary or birthday or something, it's a great thing to add to your cruise experience because it's something you will talk about later. Um, now, uh, most people know about the fun ships. How would you characterize your fellow passengers on board? What was the general atmosphere on board? Did you find a lot of the party hardy people, or was it?
No, I'm sure there were some. It was very diverse, honestly. There were a lot of young people. There were quite a few young families because at the end of February, if they have younger children, they're not in school yet, and they were adorable. And then I would say there were quite a few around my age group. I'd say 60 or 70 also. I was very impressed that there were a lot of people on board with mobility issues, and they had either rented scooters or they used walkers or whatever they needed, but they were able to really be active and engaged in the festivities and a part of the overall community of fun. I took a Zumba class, there's yoga classes, there's different things you can do. But I would say it was very diverse. There's something for everybody on board, and you can be as active or as quiet. I mean, I didn't even mention the casino. We didn't do that personally, but there's a full casino. There's all kinds of incredible entertainment. It's just really got a little bit of everything. And they even have top-notch photographers that if you've got a family traveling together or just some good friends and you want to take some nice pictures to have as a souvenir, all that's available literally at your fingertips.
Yeah, that's great. A cruise is a great time. If you have ever gone to a professional photography studio and bought a package of professional photos to get those, folks, it's like getting the cruise free, because you could spend the cost of a cruise on getting a package of professional photos taken, and if you do that on board the cruise ship, they are very inexpensive. So spend the money on the cruise, get that those professional photos done on board, and they're great Christmas gifts for your family. When have you given your kids a good picture of you and your husband together, dressed up a little bit? They
Yeah.
will treasure that. So great time to get those pictures. Uh, Anything that kind of surprised you about your experience on the Panorama? That anything unexpected?
No, nothing unexpected. Everything went really, really well. We were on the tail end of the mask protocol, so everyone, all the passengers and the crew were masked, and they were very respectful of that. I was super impressed with how quickly they got everyone on board and off board. The embarkation and the disembarkation were seamless, and I was very happily surprised at how large our staterooms were and how comfortable we were. We thoroughly enjoyed our cruise on Carnival. I would highly recommend them.
Well, perfect. Now, I'm mindful of the time. Uh, Always got to be aware of the time. Folks, y'all know how to get hold of me, but here's how you can get hold of Natalie. If you liked what you heard and you would like to reach out to her to book your next cruise, or talk to her about all of the places that she's been and get some inspiration for a trip to Europe, or where, talk to her about your plans, and she will be delighted to assist you. Here's her contact information. Uh, Natalie, the time just goes so quickly, and I so appreciate. I know how busy you are between working your travel business and your caregiving, and babysitting responsibilities. Sometimes I've so enjoyed hearing about your experience on Panorama, because I have not been on that ship, and I'm sure our audience is enlightened as well, folks. Here again, give Natalie a call, contact her by email. And always, we have a prize giveaway. And if you are listening live, this is only for our live audience. If you have been listening live this evening and want to get in on our prize drawing, I'm going to give away. Mexico is famous for its vanilla. They do this amazing vanilla, and I am going to send out some genuine Mexican vanilla to some lucky live listeners if you enter Panorama I started to say Panama, Panorama in the comments right now. You'll get entered into our drawing, and some lucky live listener is going to get a bottle of real, authentic, 100% Mexican vanilla. So if you're a baker, you don't want to miss this opportunity. Thank you again, Natalie, for taking time to be with us. It's been you've done a wonderful job of inspiring me. I want to do one of these itineraries now. I'm looking forward to an opportunity to sail off the West Coast and check out some of these different ports there in Mexico.
Beautiful, beautiful country.
Thanks again. And folks, tune in again next time for Let's Talk Travel. This is Pat, and see you next time. Bye, everybody.